Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Stock Trades. How's everybody doing today? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got lots to talk about today. Definitely lots to discuss. It's 4:37 p.m. Arizona time. That's 7 o'clock your guys' time. Let's go ahead and raise up the office here. Let's get it out at a different nice level there. And let's bring it back down. It's pretty good there. Okay, so it's been a while. We had the camera on. So let's go ahead and talk about some things here, okay? Just leaning back, relaxing. As always, let's remind everyone we are an educational platform. We do not issue financial advice. I am not a registered broker. I'm not a financial advisor. Everything we say here is for educational purposes only. We are an educational platform that has data, right? That's pretty much it, right? All right. So today, some interesting movement happened with CLOV. CLOV is up 5.47%, and an additional 2.04%, reaching a after hours high, after market, right, at around $2.99. So the question is, why? What happened, right? United Healthcare is up. But interestingly, Humana is actually down. They're down 12%. So, these are all different types of questions we have to ask ourselves, kind of what's going on and what's happening. And let's just go ahead and just read a couple of these articles. Humana shares dropped Tuesday after reports suggested that criteria for Medicare health plans to earn bonus payments appeared to get more challenging. Shares in the health insurer fell 8.7%. Post on LinkedIn cited by analyst Lee Ranks appeared to show changes in the threshold for medical quality ratings and pay bonuses on healthcare plans. Humana gets most of its revenue from selling private Medicare Advantage plans, and doing well on those quality ratings is crucial for its business. The thresholds known as cut points determine how well plans need to perform on quality measures. So essentially, they're having a hard time performing, okay? But yet United actually was doing well. So let's go ahead and just kind of talk about this. This is nothing new. I posted about this on the Research Edge a couple weeks ago in regards to their Investor Day analysis. 2025 for Humana is the reset year. Their earnings per share is $16.25. Just for your own state of reference, using our proprietary stock terminal and inputting Humana, and this will be soon revamped. Oh no, this is well, you can, this is the Tri Financial Statements, but we could still do it here. Or if you look at earnings per share, Humana used to be, $20, $25, $22, $22, $20, $10, right? And what happened is the earnings per share actually started falling. You can see the earnings per share here, right? It started to fall. Let me zoom in a little bit on here so you guys can see, right? Earnings per share started to fall. So what they did is they guided this year for around $16.25. But then again, 2020, and that's for 2025. So next year they said, we still have star headwinds. Again, headwinds is like air coming to your head. You want it to come through your tail, right? Because the nice breeze through your tail, right? Right. So 25% is 4 stars of their, the whole thing is going to be 25%. 4 stars, and the rest is going to be below that. So that's not good. That's going to be earnings per share step back, right? The underlying MA, Medicare, Centerway, it needs to improve. 2027, they're going to get continued margin retention. Conservative star assumptions, again, they're still not saying they're going to do well. By 2028, that's the inflection year, right? They're going to get top quartile stars. Earnings per share power is going to be $38 to $42. Again, they've never had that earnings per share ever. Okay. The last time they had $16 earnings per share was around 2017. So that's pretty interesting, right? So, but now they're going to get anywhere between $38 to $42. So what does that basically tell you, right? It's, 2025, then you got 2026, 2027, and 2028. So 1, 2, 3, after 3 years, you get an improvement. Doesn't that sound a lot like Counterpart Health, Clover Assistant, right? Year 1, stabilization era. Year 2, 700 basis points. Year 3, 800 basis points. And then by the year 4, you got the full 1,500 basis points and probably even more that they haven't told us, right? So for folks out, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. So what I'm expecting then is for Clover Health to follow pursuit. I'm thinking 2028 to 2030 is going to be Clover Health's magic. It's going to be like amazing. Everyone is going to look at these videos, and if you're watching it right now in 2030, I'm sorry, you're too late, but it's okay, right? Try to learn my methodologies on like what I was looking at, right? And perhaps maybe that might be of use. But what I wanted to do really quickly is I wanted to just play close attention to something here. So let's just take a quick intermediate pause and let's talk about what happened today. So Clover Health released some news. Specifically, they released, it's under Clover Health, the website, right? And it says Counterpart Health launches integrated scribing, supercharging Counterpart Assistant with smarter, seamless scribing built for value-based care. You could go ahead, pause the video, and read it. I'm going to just scroll a little bit so you can read it. I'm going to pause so people can scroll. Right? Okay, good. All right. So then now I'm going to zoom down. I'm going to explain this without having to read it because I've already read it. What's interesting is, you know how they, at the end of the article, they say about Clover Health, about Counterpart Health? Now they're just saying about Counterpart Health. Okay. So we're starting to see a separation of the businesses, right? But ultimately still under the subsidiary Clover Health. If people out there are scared, oh, I'm scared. What happens if they split the business? What's going to happen? Go back to eBay and PayPal. Look at that. Okay. Look at that split. Okay. And they each got a share of each company. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does, we get a share of both, which is pretty cool. But watch. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just like saying, people worry, right? So I'm just looking at history because, Steve Jobs says history will tell you more than the future. So, it says here, Counterpart Health subsidiary, Clover Health. And by the way, how's my mic? Everything's good? You guys can hear me? Okay. I'm going to go to the comments soon. Let me just kind of read this. A subsidiary of Clover Health is leading AI-powered physician-enabled platform transforming delivery. Born out of Clover Health as Clover Assistant. It's a flagship software platform. Again, you can start to see this is a software company, okay? AI and all this other stuff. Now, what's interesting is if you look at the subdomain analysis, we already knew that they were building a scribe before they announced that they're going to be building a scribe. In fact, if you do the subdomain analysis and search and actually control F for scribe and zoom in on here, you could see that here's your scribe.qa.counterparthealth.com. So we already knew that they were basically building a scribe. And then here's now proof, okay? Here's now proof that this is the scribe that they're basically have been building. So why am I mentioning this? Well, if you go ahead and look at Humana, this just increases the probability that Clover Health has some form of a connection with Humana. Now, the question is it a deal? Again, I'm starting to believe it is, because if you look at Humana's Investor Day, it seems that it is medication adherence and all the words that they're using. It seems as they're tracking along to kind of the whole situation here at hand. So, again, it's interesting, something to pay attention to. Okay. So we talked about this. We talked about that. We will save this for the end of the video, or like once I finish getting my thoughts out. So here's Counterpart. We made a couple of posts about it. I recommend checking them out. Let me go ahead and just see if I can find them here. So here's what I talked about it here, but let me just explain to you. You can go ahead and follow us on this Twitter handle, and also at the Al Stock Trades Twitter handle as well. And then, I'm going to give you my insight, right? What I think. So again, as you guys know, medical student here, going to become a physician, medical doctor, U.S., medical school accepted, and you're going to be U.S. trained. And so, state-of-the-art facility, top 40 medical school, right? So, it's a academic center. So let me explain. Okay. So based off of this, you go in, and again, you guys have all been patients, so I'm not trying to explain foreign language here. Okay. You go into the office, you speak to the patient, the doctor. I'm going to speak from the position of the doctor, right? So, the patient comes in and the patient basically starts talking. Hey, doc, I got X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. And I'm here for X, Y, and Z. What's going to end up happening is Counterpart Assistant is going to pull data from the previous visits of the patient. So you see the past medical history of the patient: type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And then it's going to kind of, what's going to happen is the patient's going to talk, right? If it's a new patient, great. The patient's going to talk, and there's going to be two buttons here. Once you press it is the transcript button, and it's going to show you all the things the patient says, the raw data, right? And then the note is it's going to basically turn it unstructured information to structured information, and it's going to write it in a way in the doctor language of how they teach us in medical school, right? So you go in, you resume it, and this is counterpartassistant.com. I tried doing subdomain analysis on this one. I couldn't do it. Perhaps someone out there smarter, maybe, who knows? Different website than counterparthealth.com. But in any case, attention to detail, right? So in any case, Mary Parker comes in, you have everything here, you resume it, you put the phone down, the patient talks. Obviously tough when the patient is speaking like this and softly. Maybe they can wear like a little wearable pin here, wearable microphone here, I don't know, right? For future technical support for doctors out there trying to figure this out. But, I think this is fine, right? And what ends up happening is they go in, they talk. It's a 15 minute and 20-second encounter, which makes sense. And then it transcribes it, and then it puts it into this formulation. Okay. And let's say, the doctor says, wait a minute, they didn't say this. The doctor can go to the transcription, copy that thing, and then put it here, right? And then they can import it, and soon hopefully it'll be imported automatically to the electronic healthcare record system. But let's say, for example, the physician has to change some of this. Well, guess what? Kevin, vice president of Counterpart Product Design, is going to say, oh, wow, the doctor is changing it to this. And let's say, for example, other doctors are doing the same. Well, then that's a pattern. And then Counterpart Health can look at that pattern and make the product even better. So somebody went ahead and someone says, this seems like ChatGPT, right? And Dean, the Bean, you are absolutely correct. There's nothing innovative about this, right? Which is why, if we go to what Kevin said, VP of Product Design at Counterpart, he specifically said here, we're not building tools to take physicians back in time. We are building superpowers for the future of primary care. Now, as someone who does research in AI and who's written papers on AI and who's built an AI platform, which you can basically see here. You can basically see here in real time, AI platform. Let me show you the second and third order derivative of what is going on. So the patient speaks, and then you have this. It goes on to the next level. It tells you the suspected diagnosis. It gives you a differential diagnosis to look at. And then it goes ahead and gives you lab tests to potentially order. And they kind of hide this. I would want to see this differential diagnosis and perhaps the orders, right? And this is where we get to the next level. Now, we're starting to basically take what the patient says, formulate a differential diagnosis, but then now potentially give orders for the physician to order, right? Like, oh, you should order this. You should order this. Order lab results. Order lab tests. Order a CBC. Order a CMP. Order a prostate-specific antigen, which is controversial in some instances because of the data. But you get what I'm saying, right? So we go in, we have this, right? But then this is where the magic is. And for all the doctors that are listening, you guys know where I'm going with this. Okay. Imagine having look, let me tell you the bullshit. Okay. This is some bullshit. Okay. So I want to go ahead and I want to order freaking Tylenol. Okay. I gotta go click the search button. Okay. I gotta put in acetaminophen. I gotta click the specific dosages. I don't want a rectal one or whatever that, how whatever they go into, right? I want an oral one. I get the right one, and then I have to click on that, click on this, sign this. It's stupid. It is stupid. Okay. Now it just pops up, or it's going to be trained to pop up. And all the doctor has to do is click. That's it. And guess what? What ends up happening is as soon as they diagnose the patient with this, automatically, I think this will be integrated to CPT codes. And if they can automate the CPT code process, holy shit. Now, again, people don't know what CPT codes are. This is how the doctor gets paid. So what we do is we have these family doctors that are working 3 to 4 days a week. Then on the 5th day, Friday, and even Saturday and Sunday, they're going in and having to update all the CPT codes so they can get paid, because that's how you diagnose the patient. And then that you get paid off of that, right? Well, imagine all that's basically happening automatically. And it all starts at the point of care. What does that even mean? It's like a buzzword, right? What is the point of care, right? Again, people don't understand that. They always say at the point of care. Well, let me tell you from someone who's patient facing. At the point of care, essentially what it means is like, pretend I'm talking with you, right? Pretend like this is my patient. Let's say this is my patient. And I'm speaking to my patient, right? And my patient is looking at me like this. It's like, watch your mouth, right? So let's say I speak to my patient, okay? And the patient is talking to me. I'm like, okay, Mr. Green Man, can someone remind me, this is Sesame Street. Remind me, what is this green thing called? I forgot. Muffet. I don't know. Okay. Somebody remind me. But I speak to the patient. I'm like, okay, well, sir, what ails you today? When did this start? Okay. How old are you? Yada, yada, yada. Right. Oh, you have a past medical history of type 2 diabetes. Oh, you take metamorphin. Okay. Metformin. Oh, okay. You take a GLP-1. Oh, okay. Right. Oh, it's Kemet, Muppet, Kermit, the frog, Kermit. Man, I'm talking, guys. I read so much that like all my childhood is leaving me. Like all my childhood is gone. Hey, watch your mouth. Soon, guys. Soon we'll be talking like this to our bosses, right? Who knows? I might talk like that to the patient soon. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Master the Chin is going to be talking like that to the, all right. So what's going to end up happening is, at the point of care basically means is me and the green looking thing, right? It's just going to be me and this thing talking, and then it automatically transcribing it, putting it in HPI format, showing me the differential diagnosis, showing me the CPT codes, and showing me the orders I need to do, all right there at the point of care. Isn't that impressive? That is where we're headed. Okay. So now we talked about that. We talked about this. We talked about this, and there it is. This is it. And this is what superpowers. This is what he's talking about. But most people don't understand. Okay, give you a like. Peter said today, the role of health insurers is being rewritten. Yes, it is. Healthcare models are shifting. Okay, AI with purpose. It's not about flashy tech. Analytics, that's competitive edge and competitive advantage. Smartest insurers are responding with strategy, not noise. Good. Let's try to see where this was at. I need to remind myself. I think I was already, I got to remind myself where this was at. Again, Conrad here, CEO, Counterpart, I think former Google, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Google. Okay, next generation AI features. Excellent. Shout out to Shinitsky here, showcasing Google trends over time. A spike to over 100% for Clover Health and Counterpart after the Congress hearing, bringing more attention to Clover. United Healthcare was leading the way today because something important happened. Shout out to Dish. He sent us this. United Healthcare star better than some feared. JP Morgan, Lisa Gill. Oh, you freaking Gill. Lisa Belisa. Chicago Beckers Conference. Let's see if we can get access to that. If we know, I think there is an audio of it. If you can, let's try to. I haven't listened to it yet, and I need to listen to Alignment Healthcare as well. I'm really behind. You already do that. I need to go through all the comments. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see here. It's funny. Pre-Obama insurance that it's funny. You talk about Obama. I'm gonna talk about Obama right now, actually, in a very funny way. I actually like to. I mean, he has a very charismatic voice, but I will explain. So, with that said, let's go ahead and read this here. United Healthcare, after the company announced that based on preliminary data, it will have 78% of its Medicare Advantage members in a 4+ star rate, plan. This is consistent with 2026 star enrollment and is likely better than some investors feared. The analyst tells investors in a research note, the firm says that while there remain areas where cut points would change more meaningfully, today news is it's positive, right? Which goes back to what Benjamin Graham taught Warren Buffett. When you look at the price to earnings over a 10-year period, if you're getting a dip, then most likely it's probably a good time to get in on a stock, which is why Warren Buffett purchased United Healthcare. But also you got to look at free cash flow, right? You just can't ignore free cash flow, right? You got to look at those things, and you got to look at other metrics as well, right? You can't just, right? So let me go ahead and give me a moment. One moment. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so what I also wanted to talk about, let me just zoom in on here, is so we know now United Healthcare, why it's up, right? This is United Healthcare. It's up 8%. That's pretty big. That's a lot of money. Why is it up? We already know why. But what I wanted to pay close attention to is its peers, such as Centene, Clover Health, CVS, and Alignment, also traded higher today. Isn't that funny? We used to be not like back in the day. these news articles would never mention Clover, especially as a peer. It's peers. Are you starting to see the change in language? You're starting to see? So there's that. Vivek tweeting SpaceX will be a $4 trillion company in 5 to 10 years, a bit above 10x from today. And then it's talking about, I'm not going to talk about the business model, but this could be potentially, a cellular killer for other companies. But the big thing is, and what Vivek is communicating here, or at least what I'm telling you, what I think he's communicating is, well at least about what I want to communicate to you guys is, back in the day, we used to talk about billions. This company is going to be a $1 billion company, billion this, billion that. Now we're talking about a $1 trillion company, trillion this, trillion that. So you're starting to see the level at which we are talking now, especially with Elon Musk's pay package for Tesla. Right? It is in the trillions now. In 2018, people laughed at it and it was in the billions. What about now? So that was just my point. Right? The needle is moving forward. This lady's pissed off. She's working 40 hours a week. Husband's working 50. She's getting squeezed. She's desperate. She's going to crash the F out. Americans aren't lazy. The answer is people need to learn how to invest. And the problem is now you have AI. This is kind of funny. I was hanging out with some folks and some guy brought his kid. And, the guy was like, can you give some advice to my kid? And I told him, I said to the kid, I said, invest in your own disruption. And he said, what does that mean? So I was like, okay. So I explained to him what it means. The point that I'm trying to communicate to you guys is you have to invest in your own disruption. Invest in the technologies that are going to steal your jobs or augment them. Because if you don't, there's going to be two classes of society. There's going to be the bourgeoisie and there's going to be the proletariats, aka people that have invested in the AI and people that have not. And the people that have not are probably going to be on universal basic income. As you know, I have access to Peter Lynch's stock shop. Actually, a while back ago, I went ahead, like 2 days ago or whatever, I posted that I recently just got it. Beautiful. I opened it. Purely brand new packaging. As you can see, it's around $20,000 now. And I believe, I got it's rare. I think in the next 10, 20, 30 years, this thing is going to be over $100,000. And it includes some gems, a lot of the stuff that we were talking about, but there's about maybe 30, 40%, maybe 30% of stuff that we have not discussed yet. And we're going to be integrating that in our educational platform in terms of equations and ways to look at things to enhance lifetime access members. So for folks out there that want access to our lifetime access package, take advantage. Coupon code is SAS. I'm trying to hint a message here, right? SAS, $1,200 off lifetime access. Take advantage. One of the best platforms online that you can invest in to invest in yourself, right? So with that, I'm going to show you kind of the works of it, and we're going to go a little deep into it, which I'm going to be showing with you right now. I actually ported it in a Windows XP on top of Windows 95, and you can see here's the Windows XP Professional right here. So we actually have a Windows computer loaded up while having a Mac loaded up while basically doing a live. That is the power of my computer right now. I have an over $7,000 computer. I think it's $8,000, and it has over 128 gigabytes of RAM and 8 terabytes of hard drive. And it is M4 Max, one of the best computers you can get. And we're going to go ahead and pull up the stock shop here, and we're going to show a couple things that you're going to basically, your mind is about to explode. Okay. So with that, we're gonna talk about that. I just want to make sure So Another thing I want to discuss. This was from the book, the Warren Buffett Way, specifically the workbook questions. This is a question from the text. It says, why do some market participants seem to focus on short term as opposed to long term? Right? A lot of retail investors focus on short term. Why? Well, the answer is from their perspective, not mine, their perspective, right? And this is the citation. Is the short term focus is a combination of three factors from what they were saying. The first is pure greed. People are greedy as hell. The second is investors believe they can predict market psychology and the direction of the market. They have some like crystal ball where they able to basically predict where the market's going, right? And the problem is no one can predict where the market is going in the short term, right? It's no one. No, I can't. Whoever tells you they can predict it is lying to you, okay? Finally, it may be that many investors have lost faith in making money over the long term in the stock market due to the two bear markets and the financial crisis in the past decades, right? So, I think the latter is really, I mean, it's all true, but because, when Clover started dropping, a lot of people were saying, let's face it, retail investors can't win, yada, 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 and all this stuff, right? Again, it's people are destined to be where they're at. And it's up to you to change your life. And the way you change it is you change your environment. You change who you surround yourself with, which is why I built the platform to be open access to all of the members so you guys can all talk to each other. Okay. Let's go next. This is pretty interesting. Benjamin Graham earned a Bachelor's of Science degree from Columbia University in 1914. At the age of 20, despite having no formal business education, he began a career on Wall Street. It's kind of funny. I technically don't have any formal business degree. I did take business classes. I was inducted into the MBA program, but I ended up, and I got a full ride in exchange for me having to teach the executive MBA, economics and finance, the math portion, because I'm good at math. But once I got into med school, I said, screw that. But it's funny because it's kind of almost, I find a very connection to Ben Graham. And that's why I said how poetic. Now, let me show you some crazy stuff. So starting with no business education, he rose from $12 a week messenger at Newburger, Henderson, and Loeb to a partner earning $600,000 annually by the age of 25 in the year 1919. So let me explain to you something. Right now, if you don't recall, I made a video about how much money anesthesiologists make after 15 years of debt and servitude, 15 to 17 years of just getting paid nothing. And half of that getting paid zero and getting in debt. And they made around $800,000 in 2025 dollars. That's why doctors are pissed, right? So Benjamin Graham back in 1919, he made $600,000 a year, the same price of what surgeons are making now. But the difference is this is 1919's dollar, which translates into $8 million in 2012 dollars. What do you think it is right now in 2025 dollars? So let's see. Let's see if we can find the dollar value here, the calculation. So this was 1919, $600,000. Calculate. There it is. That is that 600,000.
600,000. $11,747,200.
Wow. So Back in the day, when Benjamin Graham used to make $600,000 a year working on Wall Street, doing the same itemizations that we teach about how to find undervalued stocks, he made, to equivalent of this year's 2025 dollar bills, $11.7 million. 747, right? $11.7 million a year. Isn't that insane? You see what I'm saying, right? Okay. So I find this very interesting. So we talked about this. Also, Ben Graham also said, it isn't necessary, according to Graham, to pinpoint a company's exact intrinsic value. Even a reasonable estimate can serve the purpose, as long as it allows the investor to compare it with the market price and assess whether a margin of safety exists. So let me give you an example. A stock is trading at $2, but it's, let's say you calculate its worth and you say it's worth $14. And it ends up being $16. Okay, that doesn't matter because you made that alpha. That was a margin of safety. So Warren Buffett, I think, famously said, or, I think he said this. He said that 8 plus 8 doesn't have to equal 16. Okay? It can be 14. It can be 18. It can be 20, just as long as you hit it around the target. You see, academics, college, they always force you to be right. But it's not about being right. It's about being close to right. And if you're close to right, just like what I said, if you surround yourself with like-minded people, with lifetime access members, you will essentially, osmosis will, I think Drew said it best. You hang out with 3 losers, you'll be the 4th loser. You hang out with 3 winners, you'll be the 4th winner. And, and if you come into the lifetime access, and I think this is like 1%, 0.01% of the people, and if you just basically don't take in what we're teaching and the group, then obviously you have to go into the mirror, you have to look at yourself, and you have to blame yourself for the reason why you are poor. Okay? Sometimes you have to blame yourself. You cannot play victimhood your whole life. Okay? You have to recognize patterns. Say, why did this person not like me? Oh, in the past. Why is everyone against me? Could it be that everybody is wrong and I'm the only one that's right? That's called delusional behavior. Okay? So there's this. A couple days ago, September 5th, I said, you know what? We're at a potential breakout pattern. Are we going to break out? And looks like we are. Looks like we're breaking out. We got a golden cross on the hourly chart. Now we're just seeing if this is going to hold the 50-day, and we're going to see if we can test the 200-day. We'll see. Another thing I posted, you guys can read it here. Open Evidence doesn't make a lot of money. They recently were put at a net worth of around $3.5 billion valuation, higher than Clover. It's very clear that the rewriting for Clover Health is essentially about to rewrite itself to where it's going to be looked at as an AI company. And once this rewrite happens, just for example, let me show you what Vivek was saying with the rewrite of with the rewrite of Oracle. You can see Oracle is exploding, 28%. Everyone's talking about it. $678 billion. Who knows? Could it be $1 trillion company? Look at Oracle's rewrite in when it was trading at $63. When it was basically when it bought Cerner. Cerner is an electronic healthcare record system. Look at that explosion. Boom. Okay. Shout out to Master the Chin. Learning options and lifetime alone made me $30,000 of profit in 10 months. Again, I always like to say, past performance doesn't equal future results. And I say that because at the end of the day, when we bring people in, we want to bring, yes, we've seen people do extraordinary things, become millionaires in our platform. But I don't want to attract people that come in that have their handouts like this. Okay. When you come into not my platform, our platform, you got to put in the work. Okay. You got to put in the work. Master the Chin, put in the work. I mean, for freaking God's sakes, man, this guy walks 300,000 steps a day. I mean, this guy's literally walking to the Al Stock Trade servers and back to freaking New Jersey every freaking day. Okay. Like, what the hell? I can't wait to be making that or more monthly. You know what's insane? The wheel strategy is going to be one sexy cookie, man. It's going to be very sexy. Lives are going to be changed. I'm very excited. You already know where I stand there. Okay, so now let's go ahead. We talked about all these tabs. Let's go ahead and talk about some other things here. So this is the Stock Shop by Peter Lynch. He talked about fast growers, how this is his favorite stocks, favorite investments that grow 20 to 25%. Clover now is growing over 30%. And this is his favorite because he says, these are Peter's words. Peter says, if you choose wisely, this is the land of stocks that could make you many times your money. With a small portfolio, one or two of these can make a real difference in your financial net worth. These are Peter Lynch's words, not mine. But let me show you something. So like I said, I went ahead and I finally, after months of negotiation, months of waiting, I got the Stock Shop. As you guys can see, it is now $20,000, which is insane. Well, let me show you something crazy. Okay. Here is the Stock Shop by Peter Lynch, and this is the trademark. And the status is dead. Canceled and dead. And you know what's sad? As soon as the Stock Shop was picking up steam, don't you find it weird that it wasn't developed into something greater? Something that can actually be used to help people? Why didn't high schools and other folks develop it? Because it was not supported. Why wasn't it supported? Because Wall Street doesn't want you to know this information. You see how hard is it to even get this software? It costs you $20,000 just to get a copy. And let alone, people don't even have the technical skills and the computer programming skills that I have to be able to run a Windows 95, port it on a Windows XP, port it on the most brand freaking new Mac. Crazy shit, right? So what does that tell you? They don't want you to know this information. They don't want you to be free. We can't have everybody owning the boat. We need people to row the boat until AI takes them over, and then we can toss these people to the side. That's not what I like to do. That's what Wall Street likes to do. Fuck those people. I'm here to show you what they're trying to do, and I'm trying to expose them to show you. And you can see this is a life-changing product, but unfortunately, it's dead. It died. Ask yourself, why? So here's the product. Let's go ahead and, before I show the product, let me do one more thing. Okay. Here's a book that was written in 1938 by John Burr Williams. We're going to be making another video about this, but I just want to read. And this is like a math book. This book has a lot of math. It's very dense. Mathematically, it's just very tough to, to read. You have to really know your math. But I just want you to read this. This was written in 1938. 1938. Remember that. According to this analysis, a stock is worth the present value of its future dividends, with future dividends depending on future earnings. Let me go ahead and reread it, but use a different word. According to this analysis, a stock is worth the present value of its future free cash flow. Okay? According to this analysis, a stock is worth the present value of all of its future free cash flow. This is, and I'm getting goosebumps, the PhD origination of the intrinsic value discounted cash flow statement. Now, what I would like to show you, if I may, and again, this is very hard for people to read. It's hard to read. But if I may, if I can, let me show you part of this book's thesis, right? And it's unfortunate because most people have a hard time. Like, you can go ahead and you can try to learn this on your own. I worked my whole life trying to understand this, right? That's why, the rich, just like what one of our members was saying, they buy shortcuts to save them time. And this is what our platform does. Our platform saves people time. But this is one of the derivations of intrinsic value. I mean, if you want to go ahead, spend your time trying to understand this, and then know how to apply it from a theoretical to application purpose on how to calculate the value of a stock from an educational perspective, be my guest, right? Right? It's tough. For me, again, I'm different. I get off on this stuff. I have, and this is going to sound too much, I have a mental ejaculation just looking at this equation. I mean, I know that's a little too much, but these numbers, I love numbers. Like, you don't understand. I am mentally stimulated by looking at this math. This math, you don't understand. You put me with this math with a beach view, I'll sit there all year. Fuck the day. I'll stay there all year. Okay? Like, F the day, dude, right? I'll stay all year looking at this, I love math, okay? Right? That's the only thing that doesn't lie to you in this world, right? Everything else lies, right? Math does not lie. Okay. So that's that. Okay. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to do one more thing. For all my lifetime access members, we already had the chat. Shant, are you watching? I need you to communicate from a direct message perspective. If you can DM people that are interested, not on the Discord, if you can, you understand why. Shant, tell them about that website. Okay. Okay. You have to I had to watch 2.5 speeds, dude. How the imagine. I'm gonna just talk so fast. Shant's gonna have to slow it down. Holy crap! Right? So let me show you something. So what I like to do is I like to go to Speechify, and again, this video is not sponsored by Speechify. Okay, we have no sponsors. No, so just people that are interested, you can let them know, right? I can't say much, but right, but the goal is I want people to learn, okay? And I want people to learn in a way that minimizes friction. And that's it, right? You get where I'm getting at. You get where I'm getting at. Again, I can't say much, right? Okay, so, but again, that's the perks of lifetime access is, again, it's all about shortcuts. You work hard and dumb, or you work smart. I'm going to show you a way to work smart. Problem is, life is hard. You can't have a book up your ass every day like this. You can, but it's hard. I'm going to show you how I like to read. I like to get books, and I like to have them like this, and I like to use this technology called OCR, where I highlight it and it reads it to me.
Following the 2 periods of growth, if E is the investment value at the start and D at the time of growth against this line, then the following 2 equations hold true.
Problem is that's too fast for you guys. Also, you have to highlight it. It's bullshit, right? So there's something called Speechify, okay? I'm going to pull up a book from Peter Thiel, and it's already imported in Speechify here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the share of the screen, and I'm going to share the audio version of the screen. This is the audio version. I'm going to zoom it. Whoa, hold on. Uh-oh. I'm going to zoom in. I just got to zoom in. I'm sorry. Let me just scroll back up. Since I zoomed in, it kind of scrolled me down a little bit. I got to scroll back up. And this is pretty good. Let's just... this is good. So now you guys are going to hear the audio of this. So the beautiful part about this is I can have this on my phone, and I could look at this as it reads it to me. It highlights it. It highlights the text and reads it to me. So I can follow along and read it along without getting eye fatigue and having to read and conjure up the words. And I have it read to me like a podcast. Okay. Or I can put this in my pocket, and I take headphones and I put it in my ear, or I have these goggles. Not these goggles. I have this swimwear where I can listen to it while I swim. And as I swim, I listen to the book, and I focus on what the book is saying. And once I'm done with my 1 or 2 laps, if they say something interesting, I have a mental stimulation, and I swim back to my phone, and I go to where that specific sentence turned me on. I don't know. And I look at what it was saying. Maybe it was a graph. I don't know. And I take a screenshot to go back to my computer to revisit it. Okay. So let me show you. Yes, this is Obama's voice. I put Obama's voice because it's very authoritative. It's just so good. Regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat. I mean, you've seen me talk crap about Bernie Sanders on Twitter, right? I'm independent. I talk crap about all of them, right? Yeah. So I like Obama's voice. If you can't stand Obama, you can find other people's voice. Maybe you can find Snoop Dogg's voice, but I just can't take him seriously. I just can't take Snoop Dogg seriously about investing. So even though he's a great investor, but I'm going to go ahead and play this to you because now you know the audio, and I need you to listen.
Practices lead to Party Like ITs, 1999. Our contrarian question, what important truth do very few people agree with you on, is difficult to answer directly. It may be easier to start with a preliminary, what does everybody agree on? Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, nations, and ages. It is the rule, Nietzsche wrote. If you can identify.
So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it at the level at which at the level of speed I like to listen to.
Party Like ITs, 1999.
I like to listen to around this speed, and I can go higher, but this is good enough for me.
Party Like ITs, 1999. Our contrarian question, what important truth do very few people agree with you on, is difficult to answer directly.
Let me do something that you guys can maybe understand. Let's go back to 270. This is easy. But you see how I'm able to go through all these books and internalize them, and your brain gets better.
Party like ITs, 1999. Our contrarian question, what important truth do very few people agree with you on, is difficult to answer directly. It may be easier to start with a preliminary. What does everybody agree on? Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, nations, and ages. It is the rule, Nietzsche wrote. If you can identify a delusional popular belief, you can find what lies hidden behind it. The contrary.
So I can read this fast and faster when I'm looking at the text. When I'm swimming, I have to slow it down because my brain's focused on other things. Okay. So the point is I'm just trying to show you guys a way on how to learn and how to input more information in your head. Okay. Because remember, Warren Buffett didn't become Warren Buffett without Charlie Munger, Philip Fisher, Benjamin Graham, and John Burr Williams, right? And many other folks, right? It's hard to believe in his voice. Then maybe you can put Trump's, or maybe Biden might suit you. I'm kidding. Okay. You guys might be confused after that. You go, okay, so the point is I'm trying to teach you tricks on what I use to get information in my head because nobody teaches this shit, right? So I'm just trying to show you, okay? So that's how I'm trying to teach you how I've learned so fast. And for all our Lifetime Access members, we're going to be getting a book club, okay? And we're going to go ahead and read these books together. I want us to get to a point where we'll be able to read about 100 books a year, right? I read more. I just read a lot. I read whenever I go to the school, when I'm driving, whenever I'm walking to go to a patient. I have an audio book. I just always have a book running in my mind, and I'm always moving forward. I'm always learning something new. Okay. So we can do a book every 3 months, right? A book every quarter, right? And we could talk about a Kamala. Maybe. You think there's a Kamala version here? Let me see. Do you guys want to hear Snoop Dogg's? Is there Biden? No Biden. There's no Kamala. There's Mr. Beast's. But let's do Snoop Dogg's.
What up, those? Find truth. Consider an elementary proposition. Companies exist to make money.
Dude, what up? What up, dog? Let me show you something, guys. Hold on, let me see something here. Let's look up Snoop Dogg.
Party like IT to Kiss 1999. Our contrarian question, what important truth do very few people agree with you on? It's difficult to answer directly. It may be easier to start with a preliminary. What does everybody agree on? Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, nations, and ages it is the rule, Nietzsche wrote. If you can identify a delusional popular belief, you can find what lies hidden behind it, the contrarian truth.
Contrarian. He can't even say contrarian. Okay. Enough having fun. All right. So let's how do I exit this? Let me stop the share of the screen and let me go ahead and share the normal screen here. Okay. So he can't even say contrarian. That's why I can't listen now. I'm like, what did Snoop Dogg say? Snoop Dogg, that's not how you say it. He's like, shut your ass. Right? It's going to be that song with Dre. Dun, 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 but, bitch. All right. So let's go ahead and let's show you something. So let's go ahead and start up the stock shop. It's going to be pretty cool. This is a Windows XP port on Windows 95 on a Mac. Freaking crazy. I tried pulling up the website. It took me about 45 minutes to pull this up. It's insane. So for all the people out there that are using Windows XP, I'm sorry. You can still use our platform, but you're going to have to wait ages. But here's the good news. By the time you found your stock, it most likely it probably has already reached intrinsic value. Right? So, there is that. So let's go ahead and hit the stock shop. Fire it up. Let's go. Let's put the here. What's this? Hold on for a sec. One momentum, right? Moment, right? Momento. Let me see. All right. So let's see if we can. I'm going to exit out of this after 45 minutes of loading it up. I'm going to exit. So we're exiting. I'm going to see if we can restart the computer. Man, this might take an hour. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Let's see if we can restart it. Da, 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 da. Wow. All right. So anything here? What's going on? Are we good? Oh, you guys seeing this? This takes you back, huh? Oh, man. I know, yeah. I didn't play the music. I was like, you better play the freaking music, bro. The hell? All right, here it is. Windows are starting up. Remember, it's like an error. You know what I'm talking about, right? Come on, someone tell me they know what I'm talking about, right? It's like error, right? Like psych, we're not going to work today, right? Go F yourself. What is this? To help protect your computer, Windows has closed this program. Excellent. We don't want to get any viruses on here, right? Who the hell is still hacking in Windows XP, right? I'm sure the guy is still what the hell? Oh man, let's close this message. Okay. Oh, look at this. Generic host. It wants me to send the error report to Microsoft to show them there was an error, and they want me to send this report to Microsoft. I'm sure there's going to be somebody from Microsoft who'll be like, who the fuck is still using a Windows XP computer? They're like, I'm not going to help you. What do you want me to do? Help code? Who knows? They might send me a free computer, huh? Like, how is this guy still using it? I'm not going to send that. Come on, get out of here. This computer, how sad. It still thinks that, Microsoft is going to help. Right? Microsoft doesn't care about you. You're old. Right? Let me see here. Let me go ahead and fix this here. That's kind of cute, honestly. Let's go ahead and apply this. Excellent. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do, okay. Yeah, blue screen of that. Oh, yeah, I know. Let's go ahead and do this here. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and just go like this. And let's see if the music comes on. out of money. Dude, I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you right now, I'm about to play that song on my wedding day, right? Or you know what? I'll play that song when Clover hits 20. How about that? Da, 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 da. All right. So, what I wanted to show you guys is, we already talked about current assets. We already talked about all these different types of equations that the stock shop has, right? But what I wanted to do is I wanted to hit the research button. Okay. Now, it's sad because if we want to go in and try to look at stocks and try to, let's say, add a stock, it could not start communication software. Please make sure you have installed, right? The sad part is the computer is sending a signal to the internet and it's saying, can I update the stock? And, and it's like, nobody's there. It's because they shut you down, homeboy. You're dead, right? I just revived you, right? Like Dr. Dre with Eminem. So check this out. But let me show you something. Let me show you something crazy. So let's go to our financial data analytics chart and let's put this here. So now you have this and you have this, right? You have the past and you have the future. Okay. This sounds like the Terminator now, right? So let me show you something. Let's look up Apple. Okay. Here's Apple. Okay. Look at earnings per share. Okay. I need you. So you see this here, earnings per share. In fact, let's go ahead and let's look at enhanced extended data, right? You can see this cute little sleek thing here. Here's earnings per share, right? Let's just go back to the 10-year. It's fine. Here's the earnings per share for Apple. Now watch this. I'm going to go ahead and go to earnings. And this is the what Peter Lynch stock shop showed for doing stock market research. Look at EPS here. Look at it, shows you 1996, 1995, 1994, 1993, 1992. You see how it shows you the earnings per share? And if you hit the back button here, look. That's the earnings per share. Hit the back button, that's 1991. Hit the back button, that's 1989, 1988, 1987, and that's it, no more back button. So you could see the earnings per share over time. Isn't that insane? How back in 1995, he created an educational stock terminal platform. So what does that tell you? And, Ray Dalio talked about this. It tells you that they had this type of software back in the 80s, and most likely 70s. And you can, what this is crazy is watch this. It not only shows you how in December 1991, earnings per share for this stock, it went from $1.25 per share to $2.28, but it shows you the EPS growth percent increase, and it shows you the projections and all this stuff, which doesn't that sound the same as all this other stuff that we have here? The earnings per share growth and everything like that. In fact, Peter Lynch gave me an idea that I'm going to be integrating it to my own stock terminal. Isn't that insane how Wall Street had access to this type of information back in the 80s and 90s, while normal day working Americans did not? And then what Peter did is he tried to give this to normal day Americans, but after a couple of years, they killed it. They killed the stock shop, right? They killed they killed it. They freaking killed the stock shop. They freaking killed it because they want you poor. They want you where you need to be. They want you to row the boat. Then they will replace you by AI. Okay, that's why I built the platform. That's why we are a software company. Okay, isn't this crazy? Are you seeing this? This is like this, holy shit! Are you seeing this? It's insane, right? Let me show you other things. Look. This guy even has charting tools too, man. Like freaking hey, there's like charting tools and stuff. You can look at the charting tools. There's like symbol moving averages and stuff, and he gives his insights, which we're going to be talking about internally. And then price, high, low, dividends, price, PE. I mean, all this stuff here, right? Isn't this what this is? I mean, isn't that the Al Stock Trades terminal? Wall Street had access to this. And by the way, if you want access to this now, you would have to get a Bloomberg terminal. Let's show you how much the Bloomberg terminal costs. The Bloomberg terminal costs anywhere between $24,000 to $27,000 per year. And guess what? You're not a lifetime access member. Isn't that insane? It's insane. Al, this provides that boomers are not as backwards as you think. No, absolutely. Boomers are smart as hell. And they're greedy mother effers too. You boomers are greedy as hell. Right? You boomers. Ooh, I just want to smack you guys. Right? Freaking the boomers, you know that little meme of boomers dancing around because they're bought their house for 2 raspberries and a Diet Coke? I kid, right? But not really though. Screw you guys. I'm just kidding. But look at this, the fast growers and all these things about, how it's his favorite investments and, turnaround plays, all these things, right? Company overview, the overview of the company. I mean, all this is just insane, guys. Oh, and then guys, here's my favorite chart. And we're going to actually do this in our platform. He gave me the idea. This is a good idea because I don't do this, right? He goes in and he graphs the stock price, which is the pink, right? But then he graphs the earnings per share and he looks at what happens to the earnings per share with the stock price. And it's insane because we already do that. We graph the earnings per share here in our stock terminal. We go ahead and show where the hell is EPS, earnings per share. Let me go ahead and uncheck these. We graph earnings per share, but what we don't do is we don't graph the stock price. I'm going to start doing that now on the remodeled fresh version of this. We're going to remodel it and we're going to include that just like how we included the stock price on the on this one here, which you can see the stock price in gold in relative to the total invested. In fact, you can go to 25 years. You could see how they used to synchronize together, but then there is a separation. I think we're about to synchronize soon enough. Again, guys, there's so many, and I'm just, look how sexy this thing we're building. I mean, just look at this pure AI, beautiful platform. I mean, it's just so freaking sexy. And here's the projections. I mean, I'm just very excited. I mean, you have no idea, right? So I just wanted to take a moment and here's our breakout, our symmetrical triangle with the breakout. We're taking in technical analysis, fundamental analysis. We're taking it to a whole different level. But you can see how this is an old software. And this is the stock terminal side. This is the research side. This is not even the educational side, right? So you have to ask yourself, isn't this weird, right? You have to ask yourself, an educational platform with stock market data, an educational platform with stock market data. That's what I built. Okay? And let me tell you something. If you want to get something like that right now, you have 3 options. Technically, the Bloomberg terminal, the $25,000 a year, it doesn't have an educational platform. So you're just getting the data. So let's toss that out to the trash. Okay? You have 2 options. You have our platform, right? Which you get $1,200 off lifetime access, $2,800 right now. Or you can go to get a platform that's 30 years old that questionably can't get you the data, but is the educational platform for $20,000. Those are your options, right? Those are your options. You see how Wall Street, they don't like me. Some do, right? But not a lot of them like me, right? Because they don't want me to bring what they call dumb money, the riffraff, to their neighborhoods. But guess what, homeboy? That green Lambo is going to be parked right outside the house with a nice little shorts with hair all over my chest with an American flag shorts, right? And you're going to have that riffraff as your neighbor, right? Right? With hopefully abs, but maybe a Buddha belly, right? There it is. So the universe needs the meeting of the mind of Peter Lynch and Al Stock Trades. That will be fun. It'll be interesting to see that. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. You can judge someone by how many books they write. That's a billionaire. He wrote a lot. You could tell he really wanted to help. He's a multimillionaire, but you could tell he wants to help. So those are your options. So you decide at the end of the day. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy taking my lifetime access members to the mountaintop because it's there and we are very close. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace out.